intend to give a short speech. It usually doesn't turn out that way. But I really do hope that today is really about not only flagging of something, but celebrating the vision and the level of organization that has helped us to get to this point of even birthing the vision that was placed in someone's heart. Can I quickly say to you that every vision in your heart is a gift not for you, but it's just a gift to you for others. In other words, there is no vision that is for the benefit of the visionary. The vision is always for the people, but the visionary is only the trusted custodian of that vision. And so many times when vision is going to be placed in your heart, it's going to be placed because of all the things you have done to earn the trust of the one who gives visions. The one who gives visions is the one who holds the future. And let's be clear about what the future is. It's not a time zone that is yet to come. The future is not a date on a calendar that is yet to be revealed. The future is not a promise that you have simply because someone is saying to you that you are a leader of the future. In fact, what the future is everything you can be but have not yet become. What the future is everything you can do but have not yet done. What the future is everything you can have but you haven't just possessed it yet. And like the great visionary Frederick Adetiba said, the promise and the vision of a new Nigeria is not a promise that is gifted to us by a generation. The new Nigeria is not a promise that is even gifted to us by God. The promise of a new Nigeria is the potential of what we have the capacity to build if we will A, B, C, D, if we will accept responsibility to build it. B, if we will believe in our capacity to build it. Not only our individual capacity to be able to do things, but our collective capacity if and when we choose to organize. And then C, if we will be willing to commit. Commitment is where the sacrifice is. And then D is if we will be dogged enough to continue. Every time we start and we progress, but progress does not look like success. Oh, I think that I might need to say that again. Because I think that many people on the path of nation building have successful milestones in their head, or milestones of success. And once they don't supposedly hit that success mark, they think they failed. But nation building is a process. And success of a process is not only in the product, it's in progress. It's in what we're able to do now that we couldn't do 4 years ago. It's in what we're able to do now that was not possible 8 years ago. And so the dreams that we have of a new Nigeria are all of the possibilities that Nigeria has, but will only be delivered when we have enough new Nigerians. I hope somebody just got that. New Nigeria will not happen until new Nigerians have come alive. And a new Nigerian would be someone who is a desirable person to live with. Therefore, a new Nigeria will be a nation that is a desirable nation to live in. A new Nigerian will be someone who is really a great person to walk with. And therefore, we will then have the capacity to birth a nation that is a great nation to work in. A new Nigeria is a great nation to do business in because there are great people that are really amazing to do business with. And a new Nigeria will be a great nation to raise your children and the next generation in, because great fathers and mothers will emerge from before they even have children of their own. So new Nigerians will birth a new Nigeria. And as we organize for a new Nigeria, you will realize that what Frederick is really saying through the main model is we're organizing to build new Nigerians. Nation building is different from politics. Politics comes in cycles, crescendos around elections, and then the announcement of those elections. Nation building is different. It's a process. And it's a process that is essentially a lifelong process. It has no cycle. It has no start or stop other than when you choose to commit or stop committing. So nation building stops when the people choose to stop committing to nation building. Why? Because a nation is not the same thing as a country. A country is pretty much a landmass that has in it buildings, bridges, all of those kind of things. It's defined by its borders. That's what a country is. We've seen countries that are not nations, and we've seen nations that don't have countries. Why? Because whilst country is land, nation is people. What's an example of a nation that doesn't have a country? For many years until 1948, the nation of Israel existed, was acknowledged as a people who were scattered in many countries across the world. In 1948, they became a nation with a country. But we still have a few other nations that don't have countries right now. One of them is Kurdistan. The Kurdish people are a people with an identity, common culture, common language, common people. They are a nation. Common heritage, common festivals, and yet the Kurdish people do not have a country of their own. They have a flag, and yet they don't have a country. They have, listen to this, they have an anthem, but they don't have a country. Because the Kurdish people are a nation spread out over 4 countries: Syria, Iraq, Iran, and Turkey. There's another nation like that. Tibet. The Tibetan people actually have they're not only a nation, they actually have a president who I met whilst I was in Harvard at the Kennedy School of Government. The president of Tibet, DDK, was in my class. But he lives in the United States. He dares not leave the United States. Why? They've got a president, they've got a national anthem, they've got a pledge, they've got all of the vision and dreams of what it takes. They are a nation, but they are scattered over 2 countries, China and India. So it is possible for you to have a nation and not have a country. But is it also possible for you to have a country and not have a nation? Because if you do have a country, but the people, for instance, do not have or accept a common purpose, a common mission, a common vision, and do not share common values, then you only have a United States of nations in a country. And we do know that it is possible for nations to actually come together and form a strong country. And like I just gave, a United States of America is one of examples like that. Different people from different languages, different, ethnicities. There's Irish Americans, French Americans in New Orleans, Irish Americans all over the U.S. There's Italian Americans in places, it's all over. African Americans, Asians, Americans, but they have then chosen to come together to form a nation, not just a country. And in forming a nation, there is a process. And the process is that we must, number one, recognize that for us, with different diversities or different diverse backgrounds, religious inclinations and all of those kind of things, for us to become a nation, we must now accept a vision that is greater than all of us. We must accept a purpose that does not come from our past, but comes to serve our future. Many people, when they talk about the purpose of Nigeria, quickly go back and refer to the British. Whenever you have to look back to see the purpose of a nation, you are already in disintegration. Because purpose should unite you to where you are going, not just where you're coming from. And so, my job today is really very simple. It's to first and foremost come in to celebrate not only the vision for organizing for a new Nigeria, but also to acknowledge, to celebrate, to salute, to support, and to see whatever it is that I will be able to do to support the visionary and the team, and then to issue out a cry to anybody who can hear Fela's voice, and to whom Fela's voice makes any sense, to say, this is a platform to support. Now, the question you ask me is why? Why should you support the Madiba Foundation for Good Governance? Why? Why should I support this one and not any other one? Well, first and foremost, because you know the man, and I know the man. Organizations, and the word organization comes from the word organize, I'm sure you know that. Organizations are usually a reflection of the visionaries behind those organizations. Just like most people will give birth to children and their DNA is in that child, visionaries also give birth to organizations and their DNA is in that organization. So therefore, if you know Frederick Adetiba, and you know him to be a person of integrity, then I will put my chance on the fact that Madiba Foundation will be an organization that is founded on integrity. If you know Frederick Adetiba, and you know him to be a person who not only says it, but he does what he says, is a great execution, then you can trust that even if it is just to flag it off, it will have class, it will have the right people, it will have the right audience, it will have the right. You are the reason why we should believe in Frederick, because you are here. You are the greatest endorsement that Frederick has. Because if Frederick could attract a person like you, then this organization deserves to be supported. Yes. And I think that deserves an applause. So my job is really to come in and ask you to engage with this organization. That things will be done right on this organization, because this organization is founded on 10 values, which you can also please check at the back, called the Membership Pledge. And I think you will find it on page 11. And when you listen to this pledge, you kind of like get an idea of the kind of people you are going to be able to connect with, the kind of people you would have the opportunity to organize with. And the membership pledge says, as a committed member of ONN, I hereby pledge to make a positive impact on everyone I meet and everywhere I go. This speaks to the nature, the DNA of the kind of people you will find on this journey, should you choose to commit and collaborate with a network of leaders that you would connect to on this journey. They are going to be people who will make a difference, and a positive difference, wherever they go. Number 2, it says, I will be a solution provider and not a part of the problem to be solved. One of the things I found out about solution providers is that they don't have time to blame and they don't have time to complain. Every problem that they commit to, they are committed to the solution for that problem. And so let's not be talking about who started it, when did it start, why did it start. And so you won't hear that kind of thing on an ONN platform. It's not finger pointing about which person is not doing what. And I know that we typically tire, and listen, Fred said it. There's nothing wrong with organizing for a protest, but hey guys, like I always say, we can protest against, but what do we protest for? And behind the protest, what are we organizing for? Third, on this platform as a member, you're expected to be a role model worthy of emulation, which simply means that if you will come on ONN, you will meet members that are pretty much the new Nigerians that we've been talking about. You will meet the epitome of the Nigeria of our dreams in present times. Flesh and blood of the promise of a new Nigeria. Which means that as a member of ONN, you are an ambassador for a new nation. And you don't even need anything other than your commitment form and your ID as your letter of credence. The day you join ONN, you have already become an ambassador for a new Nigeria. And I would therefore call you Your Excellency. With that title comes great responsibility to ensure that you are never going to be the one that needs to be corrected, but you are the one that can be copied, can be emulated. Meaning that you will do the things that if every other Nigerian did, Nigeria will become the best country in the world. And if you go through the list, I won't take much of your time in delving into it. Be the best in all you do, or all I do, particularly the things I'm naturally good at, which is a hallmark of excellence. Do the right thing at all times, regardless of who is doing the wrong thing, which requires some level of audacity, boldness, courage, the capacity to be able to doggedly stand in the face of when everything else is going wrong and everybody else is doing wrong and say, even if I have to stand alone, I will stand for what is right. The truth about it is that you never have to stand alone for long. If you've ever seen people go past a red light at a traffic light and you stop, you may think you are the only one, even when a few people go past you, but soon someone else will stop behind you. And then someone else will stop beside you. And so you realize that many times as a leader, when you start alone, you don't end alone. So don't be scared of starting alone. And don't be scared of standing alone. Because if you stand for the right thing, people will join you. As a member of ONN, you're committed to value time and make the best use of it. And this is really powerful because you have to remember that nation building, like I said, is different from politics. So nation building is not just what happens during politics, it's what happens especially after politics, after elections, after nobody is there campaigning for nothing. That's when real nations are built. And you have to seize today to build tomorrow. Because, listen to this, today is the opportunity you have to build the tomorrow that you desire. And the only reason you will deserve a better tomorrow was because you did better today. Yes. As a committed member of ONN, your pledge is to care and show respect to all through your words and your actions. And so when you make that pledge, you will say, I care. I will care and I will show respect to all through my words and my actions. I will consciously build a great legacy starting now, today, and every day. And the greatest legacy that you can give, please let me help you understand, to your children is something that would outlast their lifetime. Anything that you will pass to your children that will probably extinguish in their lifetime is not the greatest legacy you can give. So rather than give money to your children which they can finish spending, why don't you give them the values of wealth creation, so that way, value creation more than even wealth creation, so that they will have capacity to create value wherever they go across the world, and they will have the ability to pass those values to their own grandchildren. How do I know that the greatest inheritance must be able to outlive your children? Because the scriptures say so. The scriptures actually said a good man leaves an inheritance, not for his children, but for his children's children. So any inheritance that will not be transgenerational in nature is not worthy of an inheritance. The greatest legacy you can give to your children is not only a nation that works, but the values and the heart of nation building that produce that nation that works. So teach your children how to love your nation. Teach your children how to build themselves. And when you come on ONN, you will learn how to do that. Number 9, live a life of integrity and honor. And I usually like to say that integrity is the alignment of your thoughts, your words, and your actions. Integer, 1. Which means that you will not say to someone something you don't intend to do. Neither will you be able to tell a lie. Let me also quickly say that integrity also means that you don't give something you will have to deny you gave, or receive something that which you will have to swear that you did not collect. Integrity also does not bestow the burden of secrecy on anybody else, meaning that I will not tell you something I hope you don't tell somebody else. Why? Because you see, integrity is the ability to not keep skeletons in your cupboard. So a person of integrity not only does not keep a cupboard, does not even have one. Why bother to keep a cupboard when you don't intend to have skeletons? So transparency is one of the most important things that you can have. And then the last one is make my family, my nation, and my God proud. And as a member of ONN, it is expected that when your family gets the opportunity to watch you in action, the level of excellence will inspire the next generation. I have today here someone that I am truly, truly grateful and proud of. He is a leader that I truly admire. Whilst he was in secondary school, he became head boy in his school, which for 40 years had never had a non-science head boy. More than 40 years that school has been in existence, and they've never been able to make a head boy of someone who didn't start out in their primary school. And yet, when he chose to run for the office of head boy, and he told me 2 years before then, I said to him, listen to me, my son, you will not become head boy in 2 years. You have to be head boy now and then be recognized as head boy in 2 years. Now, in their school, to become a head boy is a democratic process. So students from year 7, year 8, year 9, year 10, and year 11 and 12 will vote for who the head boy is going to be. And then the teachers vote. And when this gentleman stood for head boy, 83% of the votes went to him out of 5 candidates. Not only has he done that, but he's also then gone into university and now become a part of the student leadership. He's recently, in 1 year, now become a resident associate. He is a student mentor for international students, and he's now been made a career advisor, which is the highest level of leadership in acknowledgement of the school that he's been, a school that has been in existence for about 100 years. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to be in the presence of my son, Demilade Fela Durotoye, who's here. But beyond being proud of him, I am also proud to be able to do what I do in front of him. See, I don't have to hide what I do. I don't sneak to go and make calls outside where my children are. I don't try to do the things that they must not know. In fact, as I close my thoughts with you, a few years ago when it became clear to me that for us to be able to get as many people who were typically not involved in the political process to get involved, so that we could have good people run for office, but good people vote for them, it became clear to me that we would have to bail the cat. Because somebody had been saying to me, Fela, you've been saying that it is God's responsibility to bless our country, but it is our generational responsibility to build our nation. And you keep saying that the bridge between blessed country and great nation is good governance. And good governance will happen when good people get into governance. So, where are the good people? Where are the good people? Why are people like you not running? I say, well, I don't know, but I can ask the people who are interested in running or who should be running. And they say, yeah, don't you know at least a couple of people? I said, well, and everybody that I went to meet, say, why aren't you running? They will say to me, who will vote for me? I don't have money to be able to pay anybody. When I go and meet people that don't need money to vote, to cast their vote, why are you not voting? They say, I don't have voter's card. Why don't you have a voter's card? They say, who would I use it for? So now there's a problem because the people who should run don't have the people who will vote. And the people who should vote don't have the people that should run or that they will be willing to vote for. It's a conundrum. Perfect vicious cycle. So how do we break it? And then I remember, be a role model, what your emulation. I'm like, no, not me. I don't like politics. I hate. Say, no, this is not about politics. This is about nation building. But the sacrifice may have to be in the field of politics. So why don't you step up so that others can step in? And I remember in the course of my journey in 2019, it's one of my several assignments in nation building. Somebody asked me, FD, so are we going to win? And I said, for sure. He said, why are you so confident? I said, because of my definition of what a win is. He said, what is your definition of a win? I said, I have won when everyone who will never have run for office hears me, and because of me, they choose to run. Even if they run against me. I'm sure many people will testify that when Professor Kingsley Moghalu announced his candidacy, I posted it on my page with great zeal. People say, what's wrong with you? He's contesting against you. I said, no, that's in politics. I'm not a politician. I'm a nation builder. In nation building, we are collaborating. It doesn't matter that he's running on a different party platform, but nation building is about coming together, not keeping apart. When Dr. Obi Ezekwesili announced her candidacy, I put it on my platform. Yeah! They say, what's wrong with you people? I said, you don't understand. My journey and my job here is to bring good people so that they can start running. Because once we bring the good people to start running, there are some people that will now go and get their voter's card. If not because of Fela Durotoye, maybe because of Obi Ezekwesili. If not for Obi Ezekwesili, maybe because of Kingsley. If not for Kingsley, maybe because of Omoyele Sowore. I don't know who it is, but there will be more people who will get involved. And we have it on record that in 2019 elections, 24 million new registered voters. That is something that is worthy of an applause. Permit me to quickly say that 20 million of those registered voters' cards were withheld by INEC, whereas INEC likes us to believe that they were uncollected. And every time INEC says they are uncollected, what they are saying is it's your fault. But they were not uncollected. They were withheld. And INEC will have to one day account for every withheld voter's card, because it is the denying the people not only of the power to vote, but it's their voice to speak about the nation that they want. And there's coming a day, it's not far from now, when you will not need to use your permanent voter's card. Because there's no reason in the world why you should need a permanent voter's card when all the biometric data is not on the voter's card, it is on the INEC computer. Why should you need a card that does not carry the information when the information is in the system? Someday, not long from now, nation building will get us to have a better INEC than the one we have today. And we will organize for that nation. To cut the long story short, guys, we are here to start a movement. But there's no movement that can move except the people who will move it are there. I don't know if we have any of those people in the room. But I would like to know, is there anyone here who believes, whether you intend to travel abroad at some point in the course of this movement or not, meaning whether you want to japa or not, but you believe that God did not make a mistake to make you a Nigerian? Can I see your hand here? Can I just look at the hands of the people who believe that when God blessed you, he didn't bless you for yourself, he blessed you for a people? Can I see your hand there? Can I see a hand of the people who are ready to say, this day, I accept responsibility for the nation I will live in and the nation I will bequeath to my children. I believe that I and a generation of leaders like me have the capacity to build a new Nigeria. And now I commit my time, my energy, my resources, my network to do everything that needs to be done to birth the nation of my dreams. A nation that we desire and a nation that my children deserve. I hereby commit to make a positive impact on everyone I meet and everywhere I go. I commit to be a solution provider and not a part of the problem to be solved. I commit to be a role model worthy of emulation. I hereby commit to be my best in all that I do, particularly the things I'm naturally good at. I hereby commit, by standing up, that I will do the right thing at all times, regardless of who is doing the wrong thing. I commit today to value time and make the best use of it. I hereby commit to care and show respect to all through my words and my actions. And I hereby commit to consciously build a great legacy. The legacy of a new Nigeria that I will bequeath to my children proudly, and they will receive with gratitude. I will build that legacy starting now, today, and every day of my life. I hereby commit that I will live a life of integrity and honor. Finally, I commit to make my family, my nation, and my God proud. And I know I will need the help of God, but I would also need the collaboration of men. So find somebody that you can collaborate with. Look for someone that you say, can I trust you to help us build a new nation? And this is my commitment to you, that I will be there to build a nation that you will be proud to give to your children. And then tell them, will you join us on this journey to organize for a new Nigeria? Tell them, listen, I know Madiba Foundation. I trust Madiba Foundation. And I recommend Madiba Foundation. Join us and let's do the work together. God bless you, and may God bless our Federal Republic of Nigeria.
create that prioritizes shared prosperity. So when we come together like this, that is what we are looking for. That is the Nigeria we're trying to build. A Nigeria where we can create institutions that at the core are geared towards creating shared prosperity. Nelson Mandela said in 2007, and I'm closing now, that black people around the world will not be respected until Nigeria is respected. Black people around the world, and not just Nigerians, black people around the world. Nigeria is a big country, the biggest black nation. Black people around the world need a place they can get angry and say, I'm going to Nigeria. You are disrespecting me in America, I'm going to Nigeria. They need a place like that. Black people will not be respected until Nigeria earns that respect. And so black people around the world are looking up to Nigeria for pride and confidence. And you and I have a role to play in creating that Nigeria. That Nigeria that black people around the world can be justly proud of. That Nigeria that creates opportunity and creates shared prosperity for all people. I'm going to say one last thing before I hand over. Many Nigerians, and if you don't hear anything else I've said, please hear this one. Many of us have bought into this misconception that somehow we are inferior. That somehow, it was my sister that said the other day that some Nigerians in Canada started a business and they messed it up. You know how Nigerians are. I'm like, no, Nigerians are not anyhow. There are Nigerians who are excellent. There are Nigerians who can create exceptional things. We are no different than any other people. Now, condition make crayfish bend. It's condition. So let's get out of that mindset that Nigerians are a certain way so we can make do with mediocrity. Let's get out of that mindset that we need some white person to come and save us. No. We can create the country of our dreams. And we have it in us to do whatever it is that any other country in the world did. We have to remember, Africa is where civilization started. We were the beginning. So we can reclaim that place again. And I'm very grateful to Pastor Fred Adetiba for the very good work that he's doing building Madiba Foundation. One of the things that they want to do with ONN, what we're basically trying to do is to give a tool that people like you and I can use to organize ourselves, to advocate for better education, to advocate for healthcare, better healthcare, to advocate for incomes, shared incomes, minimum wage that creates shared prosperity. We can't just have fuel price go up and then someone is earning 30,000 naira. 30,000 naira a month. 30,000 doesn't fill my tank. So how do you expect that person to feed their children, to go to work, to treat their parents when they are sick, to do all the things they need to do? It is unfair. We can't build a society like that, and without the outrage and the organization of people like you and I in the room, the people in power will not shake because it doesn't affect them. So thank you very much for joining us in this mission, and I wish us a very productive session today.
Nigerians are bad. Nigerians are bad. That has become the narrative, but we are changing that. And he said something that we're not bad people, that it is condition. Now condition make crayfish bend. What we want to do here is to change the condition and unbend the crayfish. That is what we want to do. We want to change the conditions and unbend the crayfish. And it is possible. It is possible. That's what we are committed to at Madiba Foundation for Good Governance. Let me just share with us very quickly an encounter I had with Patrick Wilmot. I don't know how many of us here know Patrick Wilmot. Patrick Wilmot is a Jamaican who taught political sociology at Ahmadu Bello University Zaria for about 18 years. He was a political advisor and a speechwriter. As a matter of fact, he wrote the famous speech that Murtala Mohammed used for his takeover, when he became the head of state. It was Patrick Wilmot who wrote that speech. And of course, after a while, we had successive coup, and then Babangida came into office, and he was a political activist, and he was one of those persons that were like thorns in Babangida's skin. After a while, Babangida could not stand him anymore. He deported him out of Nigeria. As a matter of fact, he was kidnapped. They went to his house, bundled him, took him to the airport in Lagos, and shipped him out. After about 16 years, he came back to Nigeria on a visit. This time around, President Obasanjo was the president, and this was about 2006. And so when he came to Nigeria, since that deportation, he said he came to remind us that we could not afford to be docile in our quest for a better country. That was the message he brought to us. I was fortunate. He visited my university. I think I was maybe final year at the time. And a few of us had the opportunity of meeting with him, and we were asking him questions. I asked him a question about how can we get the job done? Because at the time, in my department, from time to time, I would try to organize my classmates around certain social causes. It was difficult. And then I asked him the question, I said, some of us are passionate about this country, want to make a difference. What do we do when we find it difficult to bring people together to agree on this common vision? And I asked the question, can you do this alone? Can you just run and get it done? And he said, don't try it. He said, don't try it. And he said, whatever you do, make sure you organize. Whatever you do, make sure you organize. And he said, if you try to do it by yourself and you try to do it alone, you will get tired early or easily. And if you're not careful, depending on the kind of government that you're operating under, they might take you out very easily. So he said, whatever you do, make sure you organize. Bring people together. Get them to agree on that common vision. And today, I am excited and I'm glad to say that we are now organizing for a new Nigeria. And so the word from that day, organize, meant something new to me and for me. It's something that is it's not just about organizing for protests. Yes, when it becomes necessary, we will do that. But organizing is beyond just organizing for protest. I realize that we can also organize to develop. We can organize to promote good governance. We can organize to get the job done. We can organize to hold our leaders accountable. And so that word, organize, has been resonating with me since then. And that's one of the reasons we're here. And that is why I'm very grateful to all the people I acknowledged earlier on, from Dakpolo Oroyomi to Tobi Oluwatola, to everybody that gave us, the team at Madiba Foundation, the opportunity to put this together. And so ONN that we're launching today is both a movement and a platform. It is a non-partisan movement of Nigerians, especially young people, who are committed to driving development and promoting good governance in their locality. And one of the things that we're trying to do here is that beyond the polls, beyond elections, we know that young people usually come to the fore during elections. Anytime they talk about young people, and anytime you see our leaders and politicians, in their vocabulary talk about young people, it is usually during elections. But one of the things that we're trying to say by this is that our worth is beyond campaigns. Our worth is beyond just queuing up to vote for politicians. And we're trying to say that we have more to contribute to building a new Nigeria. That's one of the statements that we're hoping to make today. And that is why I am happy that this is not happening prior to the election. If it were happening prior to the election, they would have tied it to the election. Now it's happening after the election. And so we're trying to say that now the elections are gone, but we are here. And we want to get down to the business of nation building. That is the statement that we're making here today. And I'm really excited that you all are here for us to get this done together. And so it's a platform that we've created for passionate young Nigerians, passionate Nigerians, patriotic Nigerians, because we are there. They are there. When you look around, sometimes, yes, a few bad eggs can discourage you. A few bad eggs can make you feel like that is how everybody is. But no, I believe that we have a handful of people who are passionate about Nigeria and who are ready to do what is necessary to bring about this new Nigeria. And so the platform that we're launching today is to bring these people together, organize. Because all of the people who are here, from our speakers to everybody here, and I'm very sure quite a number of you here, if not all of you, in your own way, you have been contributing to Nigeria. You have been working in your own way, making a difference. But what we're trying to do right now is to say, okay, all of these energies that we've been dispersing, it doesn't mean that we will not continue to still do our own work, but we want to create a platform that can harness all of the resources that we have as much as possible to see that can we create a concentration of energy, that would help us facilitate this new Nigeria, that will help us birth a country that works for everybody, that will help us realize a country that each and every one of us, speaking earlier, described from our heart. And what I want to say to us is that the pictures of Nigeria that we all painted earlier on is possible. I said this recently, that a new Nigeria is not a politician. A new Nigeria is not one man somewhere. A new Nigeria is not the person that just won an election. A new Nigeria is on the inside of each and every one of us. So when I asked the question earlier on to say, paint a picture of the new Nigeria you want to see, do you know where that came from? All the pictures you painted came from inside of you. So what that means is that that new Nigeria, that perfect picture, is on the inside of each and every one of us. And it is time to bring it forth. It is time to bring it forth. It is there. It is there. So what we're doing here is to say, okay, this new Nigeria that we know, the Nigeria of our collective aspirations, it is time for us to work together, organize, and bring forth this new Nigeria. And that is why we're here. And so for us at Madiba Foundation, with this program, which is our flagship program, we have, just to share with us very quickly, a model, an approach that we're using. And so this is us trying to present to you what we have and to ask you to join us to bring this dream that we've always had to pass. And so we have this model, we call it the main model, the approach that we're trying to use. The first one is mobilization, and that is part of what we're doing right now. We want to mobilize, we want to get young people to the table. We want to say, let's come together. Let's have conversation about the kind of Nigeria we want, all right? And so we've also come up with a platform, which we're going to be unveiling very soon, that would help us come together, a tech platform that will help us come together, where we can engage, we can meet one another, and organize and have conversation. So the first one is mobilization, which is the M. The second one is advocacy. And so we're going to be talking to institutions, talking to different clusters of societies as we identify problems that would want to solve, to get them to buy into what we want to do. The third one is intervention. Intervention is where we hope to be able to, in practical terms, demonstrate what it looks like, what development looks like, what good governance looks like. What we're trying to change here is that we're trying to shift from the paradigm of where we just come together and complain. We want to shift the paradigm of complaining. We want to shift the paradigm of whining. We want to shift the paradigm of, Twitter wars and all of those things that we do on social media. And we want to say, okay, how can we come together in practical terms to demonstrate, even to our leaders, what development looks like? That's what we're also trying to do. So the intervention part of our approach is where we pull together our resources to solve certain problems in our locality as a way of demonstrating to the people who control our budget that these problems are not unsolvable. That's what we want to do. That's what we want to do. So there will have to be practical interventions. We have this project that we're working on, one of our projects at the foundation. It's an education project. Another organization that I support, Feast Africa, we went to provide fees for some students. And when we got there, just a few students, it was my wife's initiative, by the way. Please, let's put our hands together for my beautiful wife. It was her birthday, and she decided that she would want to spend that time with, students, and she would want to, pull resources together to pay some fees for some students. By the way, recently there was a report that we have about 18 million out-of-school children. That is a staggering number. And that is a disaster waiting to happen in the next 15 to 20 years if we don't do something about it right now. And so she was helping to solve that problem. And when we got to the school, we did what we could do. But the school was deplorable. The conditions there were bad. We saw students on the floor, studying on the floor, bare floor. It was so sad. We didn't know what we could do. So the little we could do on that occasion was to adopt 6 of the children. So we were told about orphans that came from Kaduna. The person that brought them wanted to get them into school, no money and all of that. So we decided, okay, let's come together, organize some resources, organize some resources. I said, okay, let's take on these 6 children. And those 6 children right now are in school as we speak. And our dream is that they will continue in school from primary level where they are right now up until the university if they so wish. And so I'm sharing this with us to just tell us that this is a demonstration of what we can do. We can mobilize resources. We can organize resources. And we can get things done in our locality as a demonstration to these leaders that these problems are not unsolvable. And then another thing that we're planning to do with the project that Madiba is trying to do is to say, okay, can we organize and look for resources to actually do a remodeling of that school? Provide chairs for them, fix their boards and some learning aids in that school. So what we're planning to do is to do that and then do a report on it and then also conduct a research on the state of LEA primary schools all across AMAC. And then we will put all of that together with our own intervention that we have provided. We will document it and say this is what we're able to do in one of the schools. All right? And this is the state of the other schools. Please, we think it is possible to fix them. All right? So that's just an example of what we are trying to do. So it's not just to abuse them. It's not just to complain, but also to demonstrate that we have what it takes to mobilize resources in our locality to fix problems that affect us and not to wait for them. All right? We will not do everything. We will do what we can do, but we will carry all of that report. We'll go and tell them, Oga, do you see this problem? We have solved 1/10 of it. You are the one controlling the budget. Please take care of the 9/10. So at that point, when we come to talk to them, it won't just be talk. They will know that we mean business. Because we would have demonstrated to them very clearly what we want, and what we believe is possible. And I believe with that, they will know that they can't just sit back on their oars and let things continue to go to rot. And so the last approach that we're using is nurture. So we're creating a platform where we're going to be identifying, brilliant, intelligent, and, young people that will bring together and set up a special mentoring framework for them. And I am excited because some of the people that we have in this room will be part of people that would be mentoring those people. And so this is our approach to birthing a new Nigeria. And once again, you're going to be hearing very shortly from our speakers. They're going to be speaking to us. Our panelists will also be sharing about what they are also doing in their own way. And what we're going to be doing is to see how all of us in this room and those watching us online can come together to steward that new Nigeria that is on the inside of each and every one of us. Thank you very much.
Thanks for checking out SYMFONI on YouTube. Please be sure to subscribe and like our videos for updates.